Something massive just shifted in the Motor City, and I need you to pay attention because what I'm about to break down could completely change the trajectory of our season. Welcome to Lions News Fan Report, your home for the latest updates, insider information, and in-depth analysis on our beloved Detroit Lions. I'm bringing you something today that has the potential to transform our offensive line into an absolute fortress. And trust me, you're going to want to stick around for every single detail of this story. Let me paint the picture for you. We just watched Christian Mahogany go down with a broken ankle against Minnesota in Week 9, and Dan Campbell confirmed what we all feared. He's going to be out for a long time. That's a devastating blow to an offensive line that, let's be honest, hasn't quite been the dominant force we saw over the previous 2 seasons. The unit has taken a step back, and losing Mahogany only compounds the problem. We're suddenly looking at thin depth in a position group that's absolutely critical to everything we do offensively. Now, the Lions did make a move by signing rookie guard Jack Conley to the practice squad, which signals that we're likely going to see either Tristan Colin or Kingsley Eguakun slide into the starting lineup for Week 10. But here's where things get interesting, and I mean really interesting. There has been some serious speculation swirling around about potential moves that could elevate our offensive line from good to elite, from vulnerable to virtually impenetrable. The Cleveland Browns are in a fascinating position right now. They're sitting at a disappointing record, clearly not contending for anything meaningful this season, and they have 2 absolute studs on their offensive line who happen to be multiple-time Pro Bowlers. I'm talking about guards who have dominated the trenches for years, guys who bring not just talent but championship-level experience and leadership. The kind of players who can change the entire dynamic of an offensive line room. Joel Bitonio and Wyatt Teller. Those are the names that have been floating around as potential trade candidates from Cleveland. And when you start connecting the dots between our need and their availability, suddenly you've got a scenario that makes perfect sense for both sides. Bitonio is a 4-time Pro Bowler who has been one of the most consistent guards in the entire league for nearly a decade. Teller is a 2-time Pro Bowler known for his devastating run-blocking ability and physical dominance at the point of attack. Imagine for a second what our offensive line could look like with either one of these guys, or, dare I say it, both of them anchoring the interior. We're talking about transforming our protection scheme, opening up massive running lanes for David Montgomery and Jahmyr Gibbs, and giving Jared Goff the kind of clean pocket that allows him to pick defenses apart. This isn't just about filling a hole left by Mahogany's injury. This is about making a statement that we're all in on winning now. Let me break down what each of these players would bring to Detroit. Joel Bitonio has started 167 games in his career, missing only a handful due to injury. That kind of durability is exactly what you want when you're making a trade for a veteran player. He's technically sound, incredibly smart with his assignments, and brings a level of consistency that's rare in today's NFL. At 33 years old, he's still performing at an elite level, and his experience would be invaluable for a team with championship aspirations. Wyatt Teller, on the other hand, is 29 and in the prime of his career. He's widely regarded as one of the best run-blocking guards in the entire league. The power and athleticism he brings to the table would be a perfect fit for our offensive scheme, which relies heavily on establishing the run game and controlling the line of scrimmage. Teller can move defensive linemen off the ball like few others can, creating those explosive running lanes that turn good plays into great ones. Now, I know what some of you might be thinking. The trade deadline has passed, so how could this even happen? Well, that's where things get creative. We're looking at potential off-season moves, possible restructuring of contracts, or even exploring what it would take to bring these guys in through free agency if Cleveland decides to move on from them. The speculation is real, and the fit is undeniable. Think about the strategic implications here. Dan Campbell has built this team on a foundation of physicality and toughness, especially in the trenches. We've won back-to-back NFC North titles by imposing our will on opponents, by running the football effectively, and by protecting our quarterback. Adding a player like Bitonio or Teller, or potentially both, would take that identity to another level entirely. We'd have one of the most formidable offensive lines in the entire league, the kind that can dominate in any weather condition against any defensive front. And let's talk about the message it would send to the rest of the league. After what some people perceived as a lack of aggression at the recent trade deadline, where we didn't make moves to address our defensive needs, coming back strong with a massive offensive line acquisition would show that this front office is committed to putting the best possible product on the field. It would demonstrate that we're not content with just being good, we want to be great. The financial aspect is something to consider, of course. Both Bitonio and Teller are making significant money. But when you're a team that's built to win now, when you've got a quarterback playing at a high level and weapons all over the field, you find ways to make the numbers work. Brad Holmes has shown he's willing to be creative with contract structures. And if there's a will, there's absolutely a way to make something like this happen. Let me also address the elephant in the room. Some fans were disappointed that we didn't make bigger moves at the trade deadline, especially on defense where we clearly need help at edge rusher and in the secondary. I get that frustration, I really do. But sometimes the best moves are the ones you make when you're not operating under the pressure of a deadline, when you can carefully evaluate all your options and make decisions that benefit the team long-term, rather than just patching holes for the immediate future. What excites me most about the possibility of landing Bitonio or Teller is what it would mean for our offensive identity moving forward. We've seen flashes of brilliance from our running game this season, but we've also seen moments where the offensive line has struggled to create consistent push. Adding a Pro Bowl caliber guard would stabilize that unit, would give us the kind of reliable interior presence that allows you to run the ball effectively, even when the defense knows it's coming. And think about what it would do for Jared Goff's confidence and performance. He's playing at a high level right now, but imagine giving him even better protection, even more time to go through his progressions. Imagine the play-action game becoming even more devastating because defenses have to respect our ability to run the ball behind an elite offensive line. The ripple effects would be felt across the entire offense. There's also the leadership and mentorship aspect to consider. Both Bitonio and Teller are respected veterans who could help develop our younger offensive linemen. Having guys who have been to Pro Bowls, who have played in big games, who know what it takes to succeed at the highest level, that's invaluable for a team that's trying to take that next step from division champion to Super Bowl contender. Now, I want to be clear about something. This is speculation at this point. We don't have confirmed reports that the Lions are actively pursuing either player, but the fit is so obvious, the need is so apparent, and the potential availability is so real that it's absolutely worth discussing and analyzing. Sometimes in the NFL, the best moves are the ones you can see coming from a mile away because they just make too much sense not to happen. Cleveland is in rebuild mode whether they want to admit it or not. They've got some tough decisions to make about their roster, about their future, about which veterans they want to build around, and which ones might be better served finishing their careers elsewhere. Bitonio and Teller are both at ages where they could still contribute at a high level for several more years, but they're also valuable trade assets that could bring back draft capital for a team that needs to get younger and more athletic across the board. For Detroit, we're in the opposite situation. We're in win-now mode. We've got a roster that's talented enough to compete for a championship. We've got a coaching staff that knows how to get the most out of players, and we've got a culture that's been built on toughness and accountability. Adding proven veterans who fit that culture and address specific needs is exactly the kind of move that championship teams make. I'm optimistic about this possibility because it represents the kind of aggressive, forward-thinking approach that has defined Brad Holmes' tenure as general manager. He's not afraid to make big moves when the situation calls for it. He's shown a willingness to trade draft picks for proven players when he believes they can help the team win now. And given our current situation with the offensive line, this feels like exactly the kind of move he'd be interested in exploring. So what does this mean for us moving forward? It means we need to keep our eyes and ears open as we head into the offseason. It means we should be watching what happens in Cleveland very carefully. And it means we should be excited about the possibility that our offensive line, which is already good, could become truly elite with the right addition. What do you think about the possibility of bringing in Joel Bitonio or Wyatt Teller? Would you prefer one over the other, or would you love to see us somehow land both? What would you be willing to give up in terms of draft capital to make a move like this happen? Drop your thoughts in the comments below, because I want to hear from every single one of you about how you'd approach this situation if you were running the front office. Make sure you're subscribed to Lions News Fan Report and hit that notification bell so you never miss an update. We're going to be all over this story as it develops, bringing you the latest information, the deepest analysis, and the most informed speculation about what moves the Lions might make to strengthen this roster. This is the kind of content you won't find anywhere else, the kind of insider perspective that helps you understand not just what's happening, but why it matters. Let's keep this conversation going, Lions fans. 1. Pride.